So, my best friend in high school was a model. True story, he was a male model for Calvin Klein, which is super weird since he was like 16 years old. But he made good money using his good looks and it worked. I, on the other hand, looked like a dump truck. Getting a date was the last thing my friend had to worry about. The ladies loved him. I didn't have to worry about it either, but that's only because I knew it wasn't possible and I gave up all hope. To make matters worse, his family had money and mine didn't. So even after my friend got paid for modeling, his parents would give him even more money. Literally everything he owned was so much cooler than anything that I owned. Sometimes I'd see him roll up in his cool car with his cool new clothes and I'd find myself frustrated with him. Or I'd hear about another date that he went on and I would feel resentment towards him. It wasn't like he was trying to rub it in my face how attractive he was or how much money his family had. He would never do that. It was just that he had a lot of things going for him in life that I didn't have going on in mine. So why was I so mad at him? I didn't realize it at the time, but I was dealing with something that would be a part of my life for a long time. And that thing is called jealousy. Sometimes jealousy can lead us to be slightly agitated at someone else. And sometimes it can lead us to straight up disliking someone. He or she may even be one of the nicest people that we know. But then, sometimes there are people you dislike who have never done anything harmful towards you. And the only reasonable explanation for you not liking them is that you're jealous of them. And your jealousy could be for a million different reasons. It could be their ridiculous good looks, the car that they drive, who they're dating, the grades they get. Or maybe the reasons are something deeper. They seem to have the perfect, unbroken family. How their parents show up to all their events or games. So whether your jealousy is over something small or it runs deep, here's what I know to be true. Jealousy changes the way you see others and it changes the way that you see yourself. When you see things that other people have that you don't, but wish you did, jealousy can lead you to feel unhappy about your life, even if you were totally happy with your life before. Looking at them makes you feel worse, and that's when anger enters the scene. And the person that we're jealous of can become the target of our anger. When we feel anger towards someone, it is so much more difficult to celebrate the good things that we have and the good things that they have. So what do we do instead? Well, when we're still salty, I'm sure we talk badly about them behind their backs. We secretly make lists in our heads of everything wrong with them. We don't like them, and we act like it, and we show it. In ancient times, there was a man named Saul, who was the first king over Israel. He was initially known as a good and generous king and courageous in battle, and generally had respect in his kingdom. At one point during his rule, he and his people found themselves in a battle against a very powerful group of people called the Philistines. If you've ever heard about the story called David and Goliath, then you know who Saul was at battle against. Goliath was a Philistine. It's the perfect setup for a good old-fashioned showdown. But the Philistine had a secret weapon. So obviously this was a big dude. He was also a champion, and his job was to crush people. Basically, Saul is saying David is crazy for thinking he could take Goliath on. But eventually, David talked Saul into it. And this is what happened. As you can imagine, David became an instant hero to the Israelite people. But his story didn't end on that battlefield. King Saul promoted David because of his courage. Check this out. So David went on to have great success during that time. It was like everything he touched turned to gold, and all the people loved him. So all the people danced. They quite literally celebrated him and praised him greater than their own king. You can probably imagine how that went over with Saul. Put yourself in his shoes. How do you think he felt about everyone loving David more than him? Look at Saul's reaction. So as the people continued to praise David for his heroic efforts, they began to view him as greater than Saul. Now, it's not the people turned on Saul, they just really liked David. And that's when the jealousy set in for Saul. Look at this next verse. I mean, Saul could have been happy for David. He could have applauded him along with all the people who celebrated the fact that David helped his nation succeed. But instead, Saul felt threatened by David's rise to fame and power. In fact, he eventually plotted to kill David and spent a large majority of the rest of his life trying to complete this task. I think the author of this proverb gives us great insight about how jealousy can lead to destruction. If we're not careful, we'll find ourselves in the same position as King Saul. We'll discover ourselves how jealousy of a friend can rot, destroy, and ruin us. Jealousy can destroy that friendship. Jealousy can even cause us to doubt our own talents, achievements, and our own success. Jealousy can rot how we feel about ourselves. Jealousy can kill our sense of peace. We will constantly encounter people who seem to have better things and a better life than us. That will never ever stop. And sometimes that sets our hearts in a strange direction. And if we aren't careful, that gut feeling of jealousy has the potential to not only ruin our relationships with others, but also ruin the way that we feel about ourselves. Okay. We all get it. Jealousy hurts us. But what are you supposed to do about it? You can't just decide to not feel something that you feel, right? Anybody ever try that? Come on, let's practice. Think of something or someone you're jealous of right now. Now don't be jealous anymore. Did it work? Of course not. It's ridiculous. But here's what can help. The more I celebrate others, the more I like me. So hear me out. Celebrating others works the same way. It shouldn't work the way it does, but when you do it, you can trick your brain into feeling less jealousy and more love and compassion. Here are 2 great ways to put this into practice. Maybe write them down. So this may seem difficult at first, or it may even seem pointless. But if you can stick with it and stay committed to the process, you'll be amazed at how it can change how you see yourself and how you see the person that you're jealous of. So spend some time praying and asking for God's help in changing your heart toward you and toward them. Jealousy will rot your relationships and rot your peace. But the more you celebrate others, the more you will like yourself. So, who do you need to celebrate? And what is one thing you can do this week to celebrate them? The person that I'm talking about is whoever you're jealous of. All right, guys, I love you, and I'll see you at Fortnite this Thursday at 7. Later, guys.